Hey guys, what's up? It's Charlie here, and today we're going to be looking at the 10 scariest creatures in the ocean. Despite all the ships, planes and submarines we have, 95% of the ocean remains unexplored. This means there's a lot of stuff in the ocean that we simply don't know about. From colourful fanged creatures to giant monsters that look like movie special effects. But before we take a look at these scary monsters of the sea, be sure to subscribe and press the notification bell too. Coming in at number 10 is BARRELEYE. So, this underwater creature may look cool, but really it's pretty scary. It looks like an underwater lava lamp, and that's because it's at the very bottom of the deep sea. If you or I were down there and opened our eyes, it would be pitch darkness, but this creature can see all. Have you ever heard the expression eyes in the back of your head? Well, this creature literally has that, as they have eyes which can go 360, so they can look behind them without even turning around. But if you ever happen to find yourself at the bottom of the deep sea, then avoid barreleyes. That is because they're very vicious when it comes to eating their prey. Instead of trying to chomp them up, they simply swallow them whole. Barreleyes have amazing digestive systems which allow them to do this. These can be found in the tropical waters of the Atlantic, Pacific and Indian Oceans, so nowhere is safe. Their eyes look incredibly creepy as they light up like a ghost's. And you can see their entire insides, including their brain, from their translucent skin. The cool thing is the barrelfish's exoskeleton after they pass away. It's completely transparent and has amazed many fishermen who find them. Barrelfish are also very deadly to any other fish because of their large flat frames. This allows them to not disturb any water and glide motionlessly to their prey. And the cool thing about these fish is that they're a hybrid. That's right, a hybrid, just like a Prius, only way cooler. They're a hybrid of a jellyfish and an unknown fish scientists still don't know. Many people have attempted to research these things but have been puzzled along the way. And barrelfish are now seen as one of the most mysterious fish in the ocean. Next up is gulper eel. So this sea creature looks like something from a horror movie. It almost looks like some kind of staff or sickle. But instead, the gulper eel is like an underwater snake with a giant mouth. The reason why they're called a gulper eel is not because of a sponsorship with 7-Eleven. Instead, it's down to their giant mouths, which they use to eat prey whole. That's right, just like the barreleye, these guys don't chew a thing. The head of this animal looks a bit like a python, but the similarities between the gulper eel and a snake don't end there. Much like a snake, their bodies can expand massively. Have you ever seen those videos of anacondas eating entire sheeps in one? Well, gulper eels can do that too. Of course not to sheep, but to ginormous underwater creatures. Studies show these things may be related to pelicans and snakes. I can definitely see the similarities here, and it's even nicknamed a pelican eel. Now, from some of the photos, these things can look pretty dumb, but if one was racing towards you with that big open mouth, you'd be pretty terrified. These are only found thousands of meters underwater in the deep depths of the ocean, and despite these things not looking as big as a great white shark, they are very scary. Next up is vampire squid. Now, from the name, you already know these are going to be good, or bad depending on how easily you get scared. Vampire squids are nicknamed the fish from hell. Now, on the contrary, they're found deep underwater, but they're very scary and look like a demon. They glow bright red and look like a sci-fi creation. The ends of their fins and their head light up, and they have a very eerie and ominous suction cup-like base. And on this suction cup are even spiky scales. They can be found only in the deepest waters of the world's oceans at 3,000 meters down. And the crazy talent these squid have is that they can turn themselves inside out. Yeah, now do you see why people call them a creature from hell? Now, there aren't many of these things, but there may be a lot more soon. That is because they have a reproductive cycle which can be repeated 20 times. This means just one vampire squid can release around 3,800 eggs. Now, luckily, unless you're deep sea diving, you won't run into one of these things. But if I was a fish down at the deep end of the ocean, I would be terrified. Vampire squids really are like the schoolyard bullies of the ocean. Next up is grenadier. So this fish definitely wins the award for scariest mouth. Grenadiers are very common and live in every ocean all around it. However, you likely haven't seen one before, as they go to depths of 1,000 meters down. And it's a good thing they are so far down, as these fish are known as the skunks of the ocean. This is because they produce a nasty smell thanks to their high levels of trilemethide oxide. Trilemethide oxide is the amino acid which makes fish smell bad, but grenadiers happen to have a lot more of that than any other fish. So if you don't like the smell of fish, then you're gonna hate grenadiers. But their stank isn't the only thing that make these things scary. They're also very venomous and have hundreds of teeth. This is because they chew up their predators pretty bad to swallow them. If you thought the blobfish was ugly, then check out these guys. But the weirdest thing of all is that people actually eat these things in California. They're very cheap and the smell can be cooked out of them, so you never know, you could have been chomping into one of these things earlier today. I sure hope you weren't now knowing their backstory. But if people start complaining about your bad breath, then you know you did. Next up is frilled shark. So any animal with shark in the name is obviously going to be scary, but in my opinion the lesser known frilled shark is more scary than the great white shark or any other shark for that matter. We all know the terrifying thing about sharks is their giant spiky teeth. Well, this shark has the worst teeth out of any shark. You see, the frilled shark has rows and rows of massive teeth. They have a total of over 400 teeth spanning 25 rows. Wow, just imagine what their dental bill would be. Anyway, these things are also related to another scary animal, that is snakes. You may think that they chomp their prey with their teeth, and they do, but that's not the way they kill them. The way they kill their prey is by constricting them with their big bendy bodies. You see, these things are kind of like a hybrid between a snake and a shark. So if the most terrifying land animal, a snake, had a baby with the most terrifying underwater animal, a shark, it would be the frilled shark. Just looking into their mouths is enough to keep you up at night. Next up is black swallower. So the black swallower is pretty similar to a gulper eel, but even more terrifying. They may actually be related to the gulper eel. The difference is gulper eels eat their prey whole. This is because their stomachs can expand, however black swallower stomachs don't expand. This means they have to use their gnarly teeth to churn up their prey before eating it. These things have massive guts and are called the most gluttonous fish in the ocean. I can see why, because I've never seen a fish be so fat. It's surprising the fish doesn't get dragged down with all that baggage, but amazingly it can keep going. The scary thing about these fish is how long they take to eat their prey. If you get bitten by one of these guys, it can take days to be digested. This means many fish stay alive inside black swallowers for days. They're incredibly scary and can grow to a size of around 10 inches. Their teeth are razor sharp, and despite them being small, they don't break easy. They've even been known to destroy other fish's bones, so beware of the black swallower. Next up is the fangtooth fish. So this fish is found at the very deep depths of the ocean, and its name really does match its appearance. Despite the fish being average size, its teeth are ridiculously large. The fish very slowly eats its prey, but this fish is also known as the prison fish. That is because it traps its prey in its mouth and uses its teeth as large prison cell bars. Just imagine being trapped in the mouth of one of these things. They look like a monster from a movie, but these things are 100% real. Their teeth have been compared to shards of glass, as they're very random but very pointy too. And much like a snake, these things can expand with their prey. Now, luckily, because of how deep this fish goes, it can't trap too many fish. However, it constantly traps crustaceans and occasionally fish too. So beware of the fangtooth fish. Next up is goblin shark. So we all know that goblins are very ugly and scary. Well, that pretty much sums up the goblin shark. They get their name from their very scary looks. They have a very ugly appearance of a ginormous nose, but this nose serves a purpose. They use it to sense prey by smelling them underwater. It's pretty amazing that they can do this, and they can catch prey from miles around with their nose. They then use their very thin, sharp teeth to catch their prey, and as if the goblin shark couldn't get much scarier, it can grow to around 20 inches. In Australia, its nickname is called the alien of the deep. This is because sometimes they get washed up on beaches, and people mistake them for alien creatures. I guess if you saw one of these things on the beach, you may think it was mutated or something. But no, goblin fish really look this terrifying. Next up is sarcastic fringehead. No, I'm not making this up. This thing's name is really sarcastic. Now, this fish does look odd, but it's also probably one of the most beautiful looking fishes on this list. That is because it has kind of a rainbow mouth. It may look kind of scary, but as long as it's not provoked, it's completely harmless. And it actually poses no threat to humans at all. However, if this fish is ever annoyed, it will open its massive mouth and scare off any predators. This is a tactic which works very well. And while humans would be amazed by the colors, other fish are scared of them and swim off. So this fish may be small, but it's surprisingly frightening to other deep sea dwellers. Next up is anglerfish. Have you ever seen one of those giant bottomless sinkholes? Well, that pretty much sums up the mouth of an anglerfish. Now, only the female anglerfish look scary, and that is because of their ginormous mouths. They can open their mouths to look like a 360 circle, but instead of one of those dumb torches glued onto a cap, it looks like some kind of antenna. These are very terrifying and have ginormous teeth. But the weirdest and most scary thing about anglerfish is how they mate. When a male anglerfish dies, it dissolves into nothing. Then the female anglerfish eats what it's dissolved into, which impregnates it. So they technically have to eat their husbands in order to get pregnant. Now, if that's not scary, I don't know what is. Check out the poll in the top right corner to vote for the scariest underwater creature on this list. And be sure to check out my second channel too. There'll be some amazing crafts on that channel, and there'll be a link on screen in a moment to check it out. But as always, thanks for watching. Check out some more videos on screen right now. Leave a like if you enjoyed, and if you haven't already, what are you waiting for? Subscribe to Top 10s.